This is Max Steinberg. Recently, a wonderful thing happened on a Kerry Cassidy radio show, and somehow it went unnoticed. I would like to bring it to your attention because I think this event has incredible implications. In a minute, I will play selected segments from the radio show, so you will hear the event firsthand. Since the message there is extraordinary, I will preface it with a few words to help you tune in. Do you believe there is life in the universe? Do you think we are being visited? Do you think our governments have been secretly negotiating with the extraterrestrials? Do you think extraterrestrials might have a vested interest in spinning our affairs in a certain direction? Would you think that extraterrestrials might hire some humans to do negotiations for them? Or maybe some humans might volunteer to work for them. Say, if you were offered a job out there and were allowed to bring your family, would you go? Does this sound too fantastic? Maybe. Now, when you're more prepared, here is the wonderful news on what have happened on the Kerry Cassidy show. A human representative of extraterrestrials called in to the show and shared his quite profound outlook with us. The participants of the show clearly hinted that they knew that the call was coming from out there. Few people on the internet have noticed, Steve Beckhoff among them. But as I said, this extraordinary event went unnoticed even by quite enlightened public. Won't we send in radio messages to the universe asking for the answer? So the universe called back. The whole radio show, lasting for 2 hours, is available on the internet. I asked my friends to listen, and not many had the patience to get to the point around 1 hour into the show where the extraterrestrial says important things. I say extraterrestrial because this human representative calls from out there and is representing extraterrestrials. His manners are very human, and he reminds me very much a high-rank military officer. How can we tell that this is for real? That this is not a setup, not a fabrication, and not a joke? We can tell that this is for real because the events on the show were happening in real time, and the drama was unraveling in real time. We know Kerry Cassidy and David Wilcock quite well as public figures, and although they knew that anonymous calls from up there, they didn't help him revealing the identity in any way. All parties in the show were absolutely genuine and natural. This is the best proof of the alien involvement in our affairs we have got so far. I sympathize very much to every participant of the show, to Wilcock, to Cassidy, and to the anonymous. I respect and admire the work they do. The show was about the threats which David Wilcock received, and this is another important thing. Here I extracted only the segments of the show where Anonymous talks and a bit of context. That is, I condensed for you 2 hours into 20 minutes. The most profound message is at the end, which is going to be at the segment 2 of this video. The sound quality of the extraterrestrial caller was not good, so I had to make it louder and to annotate with text. Now, listen to what Anonymous says. This is important.
And we are live with David Wilcock in a very serious situation in which he has received several death threats today as a result of an article he wrote. Part 1 is now on the web at divinecosmos.com, and he will be releasing Part 2 tonight, but we are also doing this over the air now to take some of the heat off him, we are going to bring on a person who is working in a sensitive capacity around the world. He has been notified of the situation. He has the ability to get the right people involved to make sure that David is protected. Let's put it that way. But this person will be anonymous. They will be not be familiar with the situation. So David is going to have to possibly repeat some of what he has already described. Caller, are you on the air here? We've got anonymous. Are you live?
Hi, you're talking to me?
Hi there. Thank you so much for coming on the call. David, say hello to Anonymous.
Hi there.
Hi there, David. I understand you've got a few problems there.
Yeah, it hasn't been a very good day.
Well, can you tell me at all what's been happening to you, lad?
I have been following this Benjamin Fulford story for a long time. The very next morning, I get this phone call saying that if I wanted to put out part 2 of my article, I'd better do it tonight because there may not be a tomorrow for me. That's the situation I'm under right now.
Hey, well, you better put out part 2 then.
As soon as the show gets done, I'm going online. That's what I'm doing.
That's not disappointing me. Make sure you don't leave anything out. Put everything in. Put it all in. Let the world know.
Okay.
And we'll be watching, eh?
I think it's time.
We'll be watching, and we'll see. There was a laddie who rang you. Was he kind enough to leave your phone number so you could talk to him?
Yeah, I mean, the insider who called me, I can call him whenever I want. He was called by 2 other people, one of whom said, "Do you like David Wilcock?" And then, well, you might want to talk to him while you have a chance.
Well, David, we like you. And we'd be really unhappy if anything was to be happening to you.
I appreciate that.
I hope I can make that clear to all the viewers and all the folks out there that are listening in all the communities that we all know about.
Would it be helpful if David were to type into the Skype here a phone number where you could reach this contact?
Well, it'd save me looking up in the phone book, Lassie.
Right.
It's all right. Look, I've interrupted my humanitarian work here, and I don't think there'll be anything happening. So don't worry too much.
Well, I appreciate that. And I know that if you get grumpy, then some people will be very upset.
I'd hate to be grumpy. It's Christmas time, you know, there. I mean,
okay.
I want to be grumpy.
So this is just for the people that are on this. This is a private phone number. It is not to go out onto the air.
Yeah,
and
please.
The person is not to be called under any circumstances, other than by our very illustrious guest who is on a secret job site out in the larger world.
Yeah, please call. Please make that connection.
Let me make it clear to you, for all your viewers, you don't know this, David. The gold you're talking about is a small amount of gold. It's not a lot of gold when you consider the amounts of gold we're dealing with. We deal with vast amounts, far in excess of what you think you know about. The gold is so wide and so vast that the real problem is how to keep it all down and keep it quiet. It doesn't matter. The Lowenthal days of all of that gunboat diplomacy is long gone. And the low-level fellows that try to think that they're somehow doing anything, it's got nothing to do with it. And if any of these little lads who hang on with their public service jobs want to create a little problem, well, let's create a big fucking problem. Oh, sorry for the language. I've been out here in the field too long. But we know where they all live too. We know where all their families are. We know where everybody is.
That's very important. I think it bears repeating. So, caller, because your voice is a little faint, David.
Well, I'm a long way away, Leslie. If you only knew how far away I was.
I'm sorry,
let me tell you, I'm so far away you couldn't believe.
Right, but isn't it true that a lot of the gold is being taken off world as we speak anyway?
Well, it gets put everywhere, you know. It's all over the place. It's not in one spot.
Okay.
You wouldn't want to put all your eggs in one basket now, would you?
We've got Anonymous on the line standing by. Anonymous, are you there?
I am still here.
Do you think this is a psyop?
I think they're just troublemakers.
You think they're troublemakers?
I'm serious. We don't like it. It ruins the industry reputation.
It ruins the I was going to, that's a pretty tall order to ruin the reputation of the Illuminati, but I guess they're going to work on it. Can you elaborate, caller?
Yeah, look, we've got a simple rule. If you fellas all just tell the truth, don't embellish, tell the truth, and don't compromise anyone's privacy, their addresses, their families. You're as safe as if you're in a bank, vault full of gold.
And remove the part where you mention names of people who have been talking to blank. These
well,
people
I think I just said that, didn't I?
Yes, this is what he's saying. He says, these
you
people
get the
have
same
to live...
advice. David, my boy, that's all fine. I'm not a good numbers man with all of this sort of thing. But let me tell you this, and all your readers, all your listeners can know, there's many more tens of millions of tons of fine precious metals around the place than you could ever imagine. What you're talking about is a sand bucket full of nonsense. It doesn't matter. It's little. It's unimportant. And all those little fiddles that are so far down the ladder, they're all buzzing around like ants trying to fight the breadcrumbs that fall off the table.
You're basically saying that the threats are coming from a lower level. Isn't that right?
You're a bunch of fools as far as I'm concerned.
So, caller, what you're saying is that the gold is plentiful, that the people who are actually making threats regarding certain gold are kind of off base, in a sense.
Pretty much so. These little offshoots and these little cells that grow independently, they're all concerning at times. But if they become too noticeable for us, we'll go and have a talk to them. So they should be mindful about who they threaten. You've heard about the little fish that eats the little fish and then the shark comes along and eats the bigger fish. Well, they might be a tasty little meal for us.
Okay. Well, this kind of...
And I'm not in your public relations department. I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm not in your public relations department. I don't know how to talk softly or gently or say the right sort of things. I mean, I'm accepting the call because of a mutual friend. Certainly.
Well, we want to thank you for that. I think that the callers I think that the listeners, whoever is out there who is monitoring this radio show, will be well aware that we've kind of brought in the big guns, so to speak, on our side. There are some people out there, wouldn't you say, caller, who consider David Wilcock to be family. Wouldn't you put it that way?
Well, let me say this, as far as I'm advised. If anyone bothers this lad or a few of the others that are around trying to tell the messages that they're telling, we'll be heartily pissed off. And it won't be one or two that'll have a headache. I can assure you countries will have headaches. And the people out there who are listening will know what I'm talking about. We don't deal in ones and twos.
Okay.
We deal in whole societies.
Okay. Well, I don't want to encourage too much of this kind of talk, but I do want to.
Ma'am, I'm sorry. You're talking about the things at the sharp end of the business. There's none of this funny, waffy, soffy stuff that you guys all go on about. We're very serious. Nobody is to be interfered with unless they do their own things, as long as they don't break the rules, which are simple. Tell the truth and don't compromise any of the other little people's privacy. Simple as that. Not too hard to follow, eh?
Thank you.
And David, my boy, I'm sorry to interrupt, ma'am, but I'll be up having some snow skiing and meeting some of those lovely friends of mine in Asia. We're going to have a lovely get-together in about a week. So I'll be talking about you to make sure I know you're all right. And the leaders of these countries will also be real interested to know that you're all right and you're freely publishing whatever you want, so long as it's the truth. We'll be very upset if we don't see all your publications. I want you to send everything out. Everything you can think of, my boy. Put it all out there. A lot.
Okay. Honestly, Kerry, I was going to flee. I was going to get in my car.
Go Go and have a lovely dinner. I'll bet you're one of these fellas that likes dining in around Los Angeles, somewhere around the beach. Go and do that.
Okay.
You go and do that, and if you got any doubts, put 20 or 30 little drives, those little thumb drives. Put 20 to the friends you trust, put another 20 around the world that people you don't even know, and give them to someone to dish out to everyone. And that way you'll fuck them all.
That's already been done.
Good.
Thank you for the suggestion.
That's right. Well, you get them all, because we don't need any of that stuff.
You didn't hear this, but I already have given instructions to all Wilcock file holders.
Oh, excellent.
You
did that for all of them. Understand that we don't need any of that. We don't need to investigate. We have ways and means of knowing what's in everyone's information, everyone's computer. We don't need a thing. We do it in a different way. We need no physical, material requirements at all. No machinery as you understand it.
Yeah, I mean, this was my form of backup, so...
You do that because the people that are bothering you, if in fact these are even real people and not nonsense holders, they're nothing. They don't exist. They're not worth a piece of used tissue paper.
Well, this phone call I got was serious as a heart attack, but I can tell that you are too. And
Oh, David, we're the sorts of folk that don't follow you after the heart attack when you've died, son. We'll be there on the other side to bother you again.
Yeah.
So be assured we can bother them just as effectively after their death of their body. And don't talk about torture in this life. Talk about torture in lives that go for thousands of generations.
Well, I appreciate that. You
understand what I'm saying. You understand the depths of what we're talking about.
I do.
And this phone call's coming from so far beyond the never, you could never appreciate it.
Okay, well, caller, thank you so much. What I would like to do is, if you don't mind, steer it back around to sort of the nuts and bolts of what the information is about and how you can contribute here.
You're talking about this idea of gold being taken off planet? The average person's prosperity will dramatically increase.
Anonymous, are you willing to say anything along those lines?
Oh, not too much. He's got some lovely ideals, and we all hope it works out that way. It's hard. When you make an omelette, sometimes you've got to break a few eggs. But he's right about one thing. It doesn't matter what country you're in, where you're coming from. 99% of all the people in public office, all the folk that work in the civil service are genuine, caring buds. They really are lovely people. And we care for those folks. We want to see all the families happy. But it doesn't take too many rotten eggs or rotten apples to spoil a barrel, or a dozen or 2 dozen eggs. There's always one that smells and causes the rot to set in. It's a problem.
Okay. Is there any kind of message that you would like to give people about these trying times in which we are in?
Well, there's nothing I can say specifically. All as I can say is there are many challenges ahead. It won't be easy. But if you keep yourself positive and keep by your family, mind your family. Your family is everything. That is the way forward. We will survive. In 20 years' time, we'll be in a different world, different place, different feelings and different values. It will be so different, it will be hard to comprehend. Many of these villains, they'll be gone, vanquished once and for all. But it takes many generations to get to this point, let alone get rid of the villains forever. It takes the world this time.
Okay, and there are many white hats among you, including yourself, who are out there fighting the good fight and going behind the scenes, going into the darkness, as I call it, in order to deal with the situation here. But they are fighting on our behalf. Isn't that true?
Yes. It is very true.
Thank you, and we do appreciate it. Anonymous, can you address some of the statements he just made with regard to this lawsuit and how it may affect people? Is this indeed legitimate in your estimation?
If they want to follow you, David, You can drive wherever you want. They'll find you. They can sit down from a satellite and watch you from anywhere. That's not the solution, boy.
Right.
The things you're talking about, a lot of things will be discussed about the Asian situation next year. But there are the many dragons that are interested in the phoenixes rising. The daughters of the phoenixes coming back again, and the folks listening will know what I'm talking about. They'll know that for 100 years or more, this has all been planned, and that the naughty boys will have to take their lickings. The accomplished number of 505 will really make the love of the world far more sensitive. And they'll know when I say that how serious I truly am. It'll go back to the agreements in 1943 of the Second World War, and many others that were signed, as you mentioned, the public version of the Bretton Woods Agreement. But the dynasties and the Changlings and the others, who I name drop a little here, they'll all know that these silly little fellows shouldn't be bothering anyone. And you can all take it from me, the folks that are hearing this know what I'm saying. So I think it's enough to be worried about now, eh? It's all done. It's all finalized. It's over.
Okay, so this situation with David at this time has been addressed. Is that what you're saying, caller?
I feel it's done. It's finished with, eh? He's a man that should be able to go on his quiet way and enjoy his business.
Okay.
And the gold of this world, Mum, don't worry about it. It'll all sort itself out. It's much more valuable to be used in industry than to be sitting around in a vault somewhere.
That's for sure. Maybe that reveals the level at which these people who've made the threats really are at, because they don't understand the true use of the metal. Is that right, caller, would you say?
There's a lot we don't tell them. I mean, you tell your dog what's going on the front street of the morning street news or whatever. I mean, why bother him with it? Let him go and pick up the bones and fetch the paper for you.
Oh, God. Okay. Well,
now let's be serious. Like, we don't want any problems with the good folk out there. We work quietly behind the scenes. The other fools are just little fools trying to grab a few million here and there. They're not worth worrying about. Understand, the only concern is for the protection of the human society as a whole. There's no distinction between countries or race or color. It's the human race in the genome as a whole. Forget all your nationalities and all your culture, all your prejudice. It's all created to keep you busy, to keep you occupied.
Actually, yes, very wise words coming from a secret location in an indistinct place, very, very far away. Okay, at this point...
Ma'am, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm going to have to be going. David, 5 of my representatives will be landing in your country within 7 days. One of them will come and visit you. Don't worry about it. We know everything about you, where to find you, what your number is. We know what your underpants size are. One of them will ask you how you are. You must tell them the truth, exactly the truth. If anyone's bothered you, if you're stressed, someone else has harassed you, you must tell them the truth. That's all.
I will tell them exactly the truth.
And if you do that, you've honored your commitments to us. Just tell the truth.
Okay.
And then say no more about it, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right.
Anonymous, thank you so much. Okay, we will be in touch with you, and thank you for coming forward at this time, and thank you for the group of white hats that you represent.
Well, I do apologize if the time delay is a bit longer. The distance actually is a little bit longer than what you'd expect, so there's a bit of a time delay in the back and forth in the conversation.
Absolutely. we hear you. Okay, any parting words, Anonymous, for the listeners out there?
You tell your listeners that, all your listeners, there are some difficult times ahead for everyone. I won't lie and say that. But after those times, the rainbows will be shining for everyone. Everyone on this planet will be shining in rainbows, because there's no way we've put all this time and effort in to see this beautiful race damaged or destroyed. The human race will be on, and in a million years it'll be in glory that you can never appreciate. It'll still be around.
Okay,
goodbye to you now, and thank you very much, and God be with every one of you.
Thank you. We'll be right back. Thank you very much, Anonymous.
Thank you.
So what do you think? I say this is as real as it can be. Listen and read for the full 2-hour version of the Cassidy show. You will see for yourself that it was real. I will post the links right under this video on YouTube. There is no way for this to be a fake. No way. And if so, the implications are immense. First, this means that we are that close to the official disclosure and to official contact. Second, it means that the agreements, the human extraterrestrial agreements, are almost finalized. That is what Anonymous implies. And this is exactly what Sheldon Neidell and Michael Quincy was saying every week since August 2011. So, if we accept the message of Anonymous, next we have to re-examine the messages of David Wilcock, Benjamin Fulford, Sheldon Neidell, and Michael Quincy. What Anonymous says is in general agreement with their stories. I wish we could ask more questions and get more answers. Now, how this coming disclosure and coming contact would affect our life and our worldview? I discuss these questions on my website in my new book called Celestial Science, and briefly touch upon them in my videos. Here is the link to my videos. Tell me what you think. Be well, and goodbye.